Hi friends, you're welcome to the part 8 of building a REST API using the Golang standard library. In this lesson, we'll look at how we can implement our logout handler. So before me, I have a number of steps that we'll be going through. So this is our logout button, and it's going to check if the user token is there, and it will extract the claim. Then it will pass it to a blacklisted bucket using Redis. So these are the number of steps that we'll do. We extract the EWT claims from the request context. If claims are missing, we will respond with a 400, or we can do a 401. Then if claim is present, we'll extract the token string from the auth header. And if claim is still missing from the auth header, we respond with a 401 unauthorized. Then we want to calculate the time to leave, which we refer to as TTL, from the tokens expires at, and if that is not present, we want to use a fallback if expired. Then we will blacklist the token inside Redis using the calculated time to leave. Then we clean up our user sessions in Redis. This is optional, but if you want to use it, you can go ahead and we respond with the 200 OK, and we get a message logged out successfully. These are the number of steps that we would look into in this video. So without wasting much time, let's get right into it. So I will head over to my editor. I'll now run this. So this is what we have so far. We'll go to the user route and let's work our way up from here. I'll do user mux dot undo, and this we expect a pattern, string, and handler. For this here, this is going to be a post request session logout, like so. Then we pass middleware dot auth middleware. Then it's going to be http dot handler func. Then we can do handler dot, so we call it logout handler, like so. So remove this. What else do we have as duplicate here? We have logout handler. Alright, so let's create our logout handler. I'll go into my handlers user and we can create a logout handler here. So call it logout handler. So let's flesh it out. Func, taking a receiver function, do star handler, and we can call this logout handler, like so. And this will have a return type of http dot handler func. Of course, this will return the response writer and the request. So step 1, we want to extract the EWT claims from, if you remember, from the request context. This is our step 1, from the context. So we can do that by doing claims, then OK. Then you can do the request.context.value. So we want to pass in our middlewares. We went through this in our last class. We got to this point, dot user claims. Then we do star auth dot claims, and if not OK, we want to do error handler dot respond with, to expect the response writer and a code. You can do http dot status bad request Then we can do please log in to continue, and I'm going to pass in our return. Alright, step 2 is to extract the token from the auth header. Extract the token from the auth header, like so. So do token string, and we will create an extract token from header function, which we take in our request. And if token string equals to an empty string, then we want to error out something too. Copy this, then we can paste this. What do we want to error out? Let's change this to a missing token, and this should be status unauthorized. Let's create a extract function. I'll put it here for now. It's going to be a function extract token from header, takes in the request that we pass into it. It's going to be a pointer to the HTTP request, and to return a string, because this will give us a token string. And we can say auth header will now be request.header.get, and the keyword is authorization. And we want to do another check. If the auth header equals to an empty string, we want to return empty. Otherwise, we want to split. So we want to split it to the bearer token pattern. So we can use this string utils, string dot split, and then we pass in the auth header. We want to split by the space. It's going to be like bearer and token, then split by the space in between them. So I'll put the space. It's very important that you add the space in between these quotes. Then I'll do 2. Then if, let's save this first. If length of path does not equal to 2, that is after splitting, if we don't have two strings, we want to do strings dot to lower. Then we do path, we take the index of 0, does not equals to bearer. This should be in quote, bearer. Then you can return an error, or just return an empty string. So what this line is doing, we want to split the bearer token into 2. So if the length of that array, to convert the string to an array, if it's not equal to 2, or the index 1, which is this index 0, does not equal to bearer, then we want to return an empty string again. Alright. Then finally we want to return the index 1, which is the actual token value. Pass this guy like this. What is here? Oh, this is meant to be return, not return, like so. And this should be parts. It's very hard to type and talk at the same time. So we have this claims to no use, so we've written our extract from header. So the next thing is to convert expire at to time.time. So we want to use the inbuilt time here. So we do expiration time. Can I spell time? Equal to time.unix. So the unit will return the local time corresponding to the given unit's time. Unix, then we pass in our claims dot expires at, and in second we pass in 0. Then our current time will be time dot now. Then time to leave will now be expiration time dot subtract dot sub. Then we want to remove the now from it, so we want to subtract the current time from the expiration time. Then if TTL, that the time to leave, is less than 0, we want to do TTL equals to 5 multiplied by, so we want to give it a fallback of 5 minutes. So this is our fallback TTL that we mentioned in this step. And the next step is to blacklist the token in Redis. And the reason why we are blacklisting the token in Redis is that we want to have a storage of all the token that we have revoked, so that user cannot use them again. And most of the time people will just sign out their user without storing the sign out token somewhere, at least for say a month or 2 months. So it's a very good practice that we store the token somewhere that we can check against. So we want to error equals to the handler.redis. We created this in the last lesson. Set the arrow.context takes in the token string. Then we give it a name, we call it blacklisted, and the TTL and the error in the case of error. And if error does not equal to nil, passing our error handler dot respond with error, then our writer, then this http dot, this should be an internal server error. Internal server error, that's the code, and the message should be failed to blacklist. Let's spell blacklist token. Alright. Then we want to return addwd. So we are almost done. Then we can do write header. I think we have our response header. Let's pick that from here. Copy this. Then we can paste this here. So we can have logged out successfully. Let's just pass through. So the last thing to do is to clear our session. If you remember, during our user profile, we did something like getting the user from the session, from Redis. I mean, we have this get from the Redis func, then return it here. So we want to ensure that we clean up that session inside the Redis before we wrap up. So the final thing to do is I'll come here and I'll do clean, I'll say user clean user session in Redis. So let me zoom in a bit. So let's start by doing user ID string. The string equals to format specifier. This is meant to be format.printf, that is hold the value, then %d, then claims claims dot user ID, like so. Then if error does not equal to nil, or let's do it this way, if error equals to h handler dot clean user session. We'll create this in a bit session. We can pass in our user ID. Then if error does not equal to nil, then we can just do a printf, do error cleaning session, and session for s %v, and we need a new line, then user ID string, then we can pass the error, like so. So we want to clean every instance of this user session stored in the Redis via the maybe user profile, user login, anyway we're using Redis in this app. So we can create this clean user session now. I'll come up here and I'll call it clean. This is the word, and can do func personal handler, which is going to be pointed to this guy. Call it clean user session. Then pass in our user ID. User ID is going to be a string and returns an error. So let's have this pattern format.printf. So we can pass in our session, then %s, pass star, then pass the user ID. This is meant to be ID, capital, okay. Then we can write our context. We use the global one, context.background. Then let's iterate over this. We do .redis .scan, pass the context, then the cursor be an uint, pass 0, and the pattern, then pass 0. I will explain what this function is doing. Let me just write it out. First .iterator, like so. Then for .next, passing our context, error does not, then the error, we have h.redis .delete, we want to delete every key. We have context val .error, and if error does not equal to nil, empty printf failed to delete session, and at the end if error dot error and error does not equal to nil, return the error, and at the end you want to return nil. So let's explain what we have here. Let's start with this pattern. Where is that guy? Yeah. So we want to create a pattern here to match all session key for a given user. So it's like a pattern to match it, and for example, we have user ID equals to 1 or 2 or 3, so it will just match it like session dot 123, if that is user ID, then star. This is more like a regex matching. Then we created a background context for Redis, Then we want to do a scan to iterate over all the keys, matching the pattern that we declared. Then afterwards we want to loop. So we want to loop over. Let's loop through each key from Redis. Then after looping, we want to delete the key from Redis. And afterwards, just checking if there's any error. If no error, we return nil. So this is just like a scanner that scans the user's session ID, then delete it from Redis. So since we have a clear user here, let's see if the error is gone from here. Yeah, so we have, this is the pattern here. Then it will use the user ID string, then clears from Redis. So we can save this and give it a whirl. So let's see if our app is still running. So I'll do make run again. Running the server. So let's go to our client. So we'll log in, rest run. I'll copy this token, and I'll paste it here. So profile. Let's see if the token is working. Do a restaurant again. So we got the user. Alright. Then for my logout here, if I remove this, let's see, just to be sure that our code is working as expected. So we got no token provided, and if I undo, I'll copy the token here, and I'll paste here. First, let's alter the token. I'll just add 0 to it, or O. I'll save and I'll do a rest run again. So we got invalid token. Alright, but if I remove this O and do a rest run, we got logged out successfully and data is true. And if I want to use the user profile again, let's see what we'll get. So we got success cache from Redis. It means that our session is not being cleaned. Let's check what the error could be. So let's check our user handler route. Oh, so I see the reason. We need to, in our middleware, come here, we need to add the check here to check all our blacklisted token here. I think we jumped it. So in our middleware, I can check from here. So I'll do check Redis for blacklisted token. If you remember, this middleware is like a gatekeeper that is watching out for tokens that are blacklisted. So I can do blacklisted error, then it's gonna be dbconfig dot redis client dot get, and we can get the arrow.context, get our token string, and dot result. Close this, then if error equal to nil and blacklisted equal to blacklisted, then we can return error handler dot respond with error personal writer http dot status unauthorized token revoked. Then we want to pass return else if error does not equal to nil and error does not equal to Redis dot nil. So we want to catch the specific error from Redis. The actual error can do error handler dot respond with error write acp dot let's internal server error, send this guy and just do internal error. Again, you want to return. So let's see the Redis client. So how do we have this in our config? So we need to declare one in our config. My Redis. So I'll come here and I'll declare here. We can do var Redis to be in capital letter client. It's going to be a pointer to client here, like so. Let's check the error again, and the error is gone. This should be new. So we can bring in Redis like so, and let's give it another. Let's give it a try again. So I'll go to my client and let's log in. Restaurant, copy this, gk yi, copy this, and in the user profile I'll change it here. I'll paste and also here too. I'll paste it here too. Now, so for the user profile, I'll do a restaurant, can I spell restaurant? Okay. What do we have here? We got invalid memory address, new point on the reference, blah 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 blah. Okay. Where's the error coming from? Let's see again. Where's the error coming from? I'll pick this guy, restaurant. Invalid memory address or new point on the reference. Server go. Let me just troubleshoot this. See blacklisted dbconfig dot redis client dot arrow dot get token string results. Blacklisted error handler. be the so suspecting this db config Redis config var Redis client db config. Yeah, so the error is that we declare this reference here and we did not point it globally. That was the error. So I'll come here. You can do Redis client equals to rdb. Yeah. So our app should start now. Alright. So we can go to client. If I do rest run, let me close. So we got success. Let me close this. And if I rest run here, logged out, fingers crossed, if I do a rest run here again, we should have token revoked. Yeah. We now have a working program. Let's just go back to our code, close this, close this. So we are using the auth middleware as the gatekeeper, and we are checking here in the blacklisted bucket. So we are doing a dbconfig.redis client dot get the token string. Then if the results equals to blacklisted, if you remember when we wrote in the user handler, the token string, the name that we give to you here is blacklisted. So if the blacklisted equals to the blacklisted here equals to the blacklisted inside the auth token, then we can remove, then we can revoke the token. Then it means that the token is being revoked, if that makes sense. So this brings us to the end of this lesson. I hope you enjoyed it. If you do, please do well to leave a like and subscribe to this channel. It helps me to want to do more. And in the next lesson, we'll be looking at how we can upload files to our DB. So provider of choice will be Cloudinary, and if you can also use the same concept to upload to S3 bucket. Yeah, so that'll be all from my end, and I'll see you in the next class. Thank you.